Okay.
So fantastic. This afternoon, I am really happy to be talking to my friend Wasim. And we are going to be talking about fasting. What is it and the benefits for physical and spiritual health? And I reached out to Wasim because we've been sort of in communication throughout this journey, haven't we, over the last year, and got lots of friends in common. But I know this is something you're really passionate about. So can you tell us a bit about yourself and your experience with fasting?
Well, my name's Wasim. I started fasting 3 years ago. I decided to change my life. I was actually at a boxing MMA gym, and I noticed that there were some people there that were working out and exercising, having more energy than other people from fasting. So they didn't eat before the gym, and I was just like, "How is that possible?" And they'd be like, "Do some research." So I'm the kind of person where when they say do your research, I'm gonna go do my research. Then I just started look. I just started. It started with one video on YouTube about the benefits of fasting. What exactly is fasting? And then as I started looking into it more, I just got addicted to learning more. I was like, okay, this video leads to this video. Oh, how do you break a fast? Oh, what do you do during a fast? I'm like, oh, it's just so interesting. And then the science made so much sense, especially with the whole subject of fasting. The whole definition is ultimately when you restrain from food and um, your cells regenerate through a process called autophagy. And that's the creation of new cells when the body is absent from food or food consumption. And that's where it all started.
There's so much to it, isn't it? I mean, I've been looking at fasting for years and I've done various fasts. But it's such a topical issue at the moment, isn't it? Because so many people are really passionate about taking back control of their health. And I think a lot of us, particularly over lockdown, a lot of people have been a lot more not doing the same type of exercise. So I was speaking to Mel Kay about this the other day. So she lives in the middle of the city, and so her gym, her yoga classes, all her normal sources of exercises, and a lot of my friends who live in the city have had the same problem. And I live in the countryside, so I've still been able to go out for my walks and horse rides and things like that. But people are getting really aware, I think, a lot more aware than perhaps they even were a few years ago, about how much things like this can help, not just on the physical side of things, but in the emotional and spiritual side of things as well.
And with that, it's interesting because the fasting, when you regenerate your cells, you regenerate all your cells, your eyes, your eyebrows, your hair, your nails, your skin, but it also heals the mind, the body, and the soul and the spirit. So that's when it gets really fun because you feel a regenerate. It's like pressing the refresh button after the system has been through an upgrade. And because
Yeah.
we're going through an ascension right now, everyone's upgrading except the they're trying to stop you with the shots and
Mm.
everything like that, but we're at a really amazing time, like in a time where you just have to breathe and just take care of your health and you will ascend, and it's been happening to all of us.
I so agree with that. So you were saying that your journey started about 3 years ago. So there's so many different types of fasting, aren't there? I've got a few friends that are sort of halfway through fasts at the moment, and they sort of everything from a water fast where they're having nothing from but water, to other people that are doing fasts that actually, well, it involves some juice fasts, etc. So can you give us a bit of an update in terms of some of the different types of fasts and when it might be appropriate for different people to use the different types?
So the most common one that is like publicized is the intermittent fasting, where you're eating intermittently. So if you got 24 hours in a clock, it's all about the timing of your eating. So you'll eat, like, the majority of the intermittent fasting is 16/8. So you fast for 16 hours, and then those 8 hours left, you will eat in that eating window. And what that does is you allow your body to have 16 hours to regenerate and to build the body. And then as that's going, and then the 8 hours is to build in your nutrients to feed your body, whether it's essential amino acids, whether it's certain foods that your body cannot get. That's when you do food consumption. And it's some of the different types of fast. That's intermittent fasting, that's the 16/8. Some people also do liquid fasts,
Mm.
which I'm a very big fan of. That's water, organic teas, and organic coffee, because those actually speed up the autophagy process. Autophagy is the regeneration of cells. And it's very, very interesting because when you have, like, they say, oh, don't drink caffeine, don't drink coffee, don't drink tea. That's only if you're addicted. If you have an addiction to caffeine and you have a problem where you actually are becoming anxious and nervous, yeah, you may have to lower it a bit. But luckily, fasting regenerates that, and they don't talk about this in the media because it's the ultimate cure. It's the miracle cure, fasting. And
Yeah,
they
and it's very natural. I mean, certainly dogs. So I sort of work in more animal health than human health. And dogs, for example, it does them so much good to fast 1 day a week because in the wild, they'd never find food every day. And I don't think most people realize how much energy our body uses to actually digest food. And we can come on to this in a minute, but the more processed the food is, obviously, the more work your body's putting into it. So for humans, I assume again, sort of in terms of evolutionary history, I'm assuming it's quite natural that, you know, in the old days, before electricity was invented, we wouldn't have been up till 11 o'clock at night eating and drinking because we wouldn't have been able to. So I suppose nature would have a natural shorter window for people eating.
and like you said, the food wasn't available every day, so the
Yeah,
body learned how to, whether it's dogs, humans, back in the prehistoric days. uh, I don't know how it is, but humans didn't have food available all the time,
yeah,
so the body knows how what to do in those situations, and the body actually releases more energy when you're fasted, and people don't understand that. That's why, well, it makes sense too if you think about it. You're going to go to the gym, you want to work out, you want to exercise. Why would you put food in your body? Because people say, oh, I need to get my energy. No, because your body's digesting. Just like you said,
yeah,
it takes a lot of energy to digest. That's why people feel so bloated at the gym. That's why they half-ass their workouts and stuff like that. And all it is if you just train fasted, you teach yourself how to train fasted, you will accelerate your fat loss, because your body, when you're fasted, your body looks for energy elsewhere. And the best place to look is your fat storage. That's why it's storage fat. That's why people who
yeah,
have a little bit extra body weight, it's perfect for them, because the body will be like, all right, I'm gonna grab some of the fat cells from here. I'm gonna use that for energy, because the body's in this mode like, what do we do? What do we do? We need energy. The body becomes very, very efficient when you're fasted. And a lot of people who get introduced to fasting get so shocked by how amazing the benefits are that they start looking into it. I got addicted, so I was just like, all right, I got to look into like 2 day fasts, 3 day fasts. The longest fast I've ever done, I think, was like 6 7 days
wow.
with a couple things, but it really, really just cleans your body out. And it's, oh my god, it's unbelievable. If people just did this, I know people are on diets and stuff like that, that's cute and all, but you don't need to put yourself through so much hell.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be difficult.
So talk me through then. Okay, so someone, say you've got a new person that's quite new to fasting. So let's start with the intermittent fasting because for me as a biologist, I'm a biologist and it makes sense that you're trying to build good habits because we do tend to, as humans, have this capacity to overindulge and then do something dramatic, overindulge and do, and I would think that could put some strain on your body if it's not done properly. So let's start with the intermittent fasting. So the 16/8. Talk me through what a typical day would look like for that then.
So in the morning, I wake up and I'll have something to detox my body, which doesn't break me out of a fast. So like I'll have a water with apple cider vinegar, some lemon juice, and like freshly squeezed lemon juice, not the one you get from the stores, and
Yeah.
some ginger. It doesn't taste very good, but those, basically detoxify your body and speed up the process. So I wake up in the morning and I start with that, and it'll actually accelerate and put you in a fasted state faster, because of the acetic acid, which is like stomach acid in the apple cider vinegar. Um, After that, maybe an hour later, 2 hours later, I'll have some organic tea. And the reason these don't, they don't have any calories, very, very, very little calories. So your body is not like, okay, I'm out of a fasted state. Now you consume tea. No, it actually speeds it up. So I'll have some organic tea, preferably organic matcha green tea from like Japan. I get like ceremonial high grade matcha tea, and I'll drink that. And usually and I'm still fasted at that point,
Well,
and
can
I'm
I
not
ask a question about that? So when you're talking about the tea, the coffee, you're talking about actually a tea that's actually got health benefits. Because I think
yeah.
when, and just to interrupt to make it clear for people, when you're talking about no calories, obviously there's lots of no calorie drinks that are really, really bad for you. So we're not talking about having one of those, but we're talking about having something that is got their own health benefits in its own right.
So some of those teas are like, so matcha is a pure form of green tea.
Yeah.
Matcha is the whole leaf of the green tea. Uh, but some of the best teas would be organic green tea, organic black tea. Black tea has a little bit more caffeine in it. It's got theanine as well. This essential amino acid called theanine, and theanine allows your body to be calm. So imagine like coffee goes up and then like that, like you get a crash. Matcha or green tea will put you up, give you that energy boost, and you'll glide instead of drop.
Yeah.
So tea is much better in regards to an energy efficient drink. But if you're gonna work out or you have a more of a busy day, go for an organic coffee. There's nothing wrong with that. I know people say, "Oh, I'm against coffee, the caffeine." No, if you do it like a couple days a week, there's nothing wrong with it. If anything, it's the best pre-workout. It hands down is the best pre-workout. Teas and coffees. You don't want all those pre-workout drinks, the powders, oh my god, the stuff that's in that. When people find out, obviously we're in that dark to light phase. When people start finding out what's in the foods that they're consuming, wow.
It is a shock to people because I think, people, it is very different. Often they make it very difficult for you to find out what is in it. So by this stage, this has taken you up. So basically, you've woken up in the morning. At this stage, you've still just had liquid.
Mhm.
So when would you have your first actual food of the day?
Whenever I feel hungry, because after the tea and the coffee, it suppresses the appetite.
Yeah,
You can just go about your day. And the best part is you get this brain boost as well from the GABA, from the green tea, or the polyphenols in the coffee, because you're just focused. And whatever you're doing, whether it's like, oh, I have to write a book, I have to go for a walk, or whatever it is, you're primarily focused because your body's not digesting. So the brain is in this mode, it's in this alert mode where you have this awareness, and it's a beautiful thing. Because like you'll be able to just observe and sense, because your body's not craving food, and it's not craving dopamine or serotonin. Your body's just still, so it allows you to be present.
so when you're doing like the intermittent fasting, which would be something you'd build regularly into your sort of weekly routine, it doesn't matter which 8 hours you eat, so long as you only ate when it within an 8 hour window, correct?
Absolutely. And the
Yeah.
best part, and then when you break your fast, it's so important to break it with something very small at first, because your stomach is extremely sensitive. Most people mess up because they fast, and then when it's time to break their fast, they feel, oh, it's time to celebrate, time to get all the big meal ready. No, your stomach shrunk at that point. So you have to be very, very. It makes a lot of sense when you think about it. You want to put a little bit in your body, so your body's like, okay, that makes sense. Like let me digest this real quick. A good example is some soup. Whether you're a vegan, whether you're an animal eater, I don't want to say it like that. Um, but whether you're consuming bone broth or whether you're consuming miso soup, like an organic miso soup, those are the best options because it's so smooth. It fast digesting. There's also for vegans, a pea protein shake is very, very good with some almond milk because it's very small. The pea protein instantly digests. If you're not a vegan, like a whey protein isolate is a very, very good protein shake afterwards for building some muscle. And then an hour later, that's when you have a bigger meal. You introduce more food in little by little. And it makes a lot of sense too, because then your body already, the insulin, so insulin, obviously, you know this, it's when the
Yeah.
cell nutrients go in, triggered by when you eat food. Um, I've also noticed that when you fast, you become insulin sensitive. So your insulin is very, very sensitive to whatever food you put in your body. So, and I know this because, like, as a Muslim, well, I used to be a Muslim, not anymore. That we have that Ramadan, the month of fasting. A
Yeah.
lot of people actually gain weight during that month, and the reason why is because they fast, 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 which is great. But they break their fast with that gigantic meal of breads, rices, meats, dal. There's all of these foods, and then they gain so much weight because the body was like, "Whoa, I'm really sensitive to what you're putting in the body. You're just dumping all this food in. I don't know what to do with it, so I'm going to store it."
Yeah. Absolutely. So would
So
you do, if people that do the intermittent fast, I know this is very general because there's every possible range on the scale, but is that something you do every day or a certain number of days per week or?
I did it every day. Like 3 years ago, I got so addicted where I would do it every day, the intermittent fasting. But if you're trying to build some muscle, you're a bodybuilder or an athlete, it's not recommended to do it every day.
No.
And I really believe that you shouldn't do it every day. But if you're at a point in your life where you have to lose weight, I
Yeah.
would recommend doing that every single day. And it's not hard. When people say I can't do it, I can't do it. If I can do it, anybody can do it. Seriously.
Yeah, I think, sometimes if you've got mums that are cooking for a whole family and, people in and out. But so that is an important thing, is obviously there's different reasons why people fast. So some people might want to do some fast to sort of regain a healthy weight for themselves. Others just to sort of slow down the aging process and help their body heal.
And the best part is the anti-aging is so powerful. Also, people don't understand the benefits of fasting. Like, not only do your cells regenerate, they regenerate stronger,
Yeah.
fast, harder, better, faster, stronger. It happens everywhere in your body. You'll notice your teeth will get whiter. You'll notice your eyes you'll see more clear. You'll notice your hair grows better. You'll
Mm.
also notice skin glowing, and it's just it's so and then when you fast longer, when you learn about the prolonged fast, you start realizing, oh, did you know that if you fast 72 hours, your immune system literally transforms? It's a brand new immune system.
Yeah.
It's insane.
So with the longer fast, Wasim, I'm assuming it's good for people to start slowly if they're new to it, because you don't want to stress your body out too much. There's a fine line, isn't there? And then as you get used to it, to introduce some of the other types of fasting, the longer fasting, and see how you cope with that. I mean, have you got any advice for that for people? Because you're right, certainly for athletes, they've obviously got to take specific advice, because if they're putting their body under quite a lot of pressure by performing at quite a high level.
Well, for people that are just starting, intermittent fasting is the best way to
Yeah,
start. Really is very simple. It's basically skipping breakfast. That's
yeah,
really what it is. And people, we're so conditioned to eat breakfast because they've been promoting cereals, promoting all this food. Eat this, eat that, and it's just we're so addicted to the overconsumption of food, overconsumption of everything. Actually, when you take it away, your body has no choice but to adapt to it. It may take some time, but after a while, you fast for a good amount of time, your brain feels better, and
yeah,
then you feel so good, and then you start to become sensitive to certain foods because your body's really regenerating. Your cells are working so well, like happy cells. They become happy cells. And so the 16 to 8 is the best way to start. Skip breakfast in the morning. I really appreciate your questions, by the way, because you really ask really good follow-up questions.
oh,
So it
good.
really helps people. Because if I was listening to this, I would actually understand everything you're saying, because it's like, oh, the questions that a viewer would ask, you're actually asking that. And I really, really like, here's another thing that I would do with every interview. I appreciate you. I always send my gratitude to the person I'm speaking to, because you're giving me an opportunity to really share my value with people, because I see people struggling so much with their weight, and they don't need to struggle. They don't need to be so depressed over this, because it's really not. If you are guided in a proper way, you'll be able to get the results quicker. You'll also have less stress on your body.
Yeah.
It's very, very true.
And I think it's true, it's sustainable, because it's very depressing for people that have been on diets, because we all know, I mean, the evidence is all out there, diets aren't sustainable. I've done quite a few sort of juice fasts using sort of superfood supplements and things. And I found they've really reset my body absolutely brilliantly. So very liquid based, quite well formulated. You know, I work with a company that do this thing, and they're very high quality, organic, GMO free superfoods. But what has really surprised me is, as you say, how quickly you can break habits. And I tend to do a 10-day one of those. And what's been fantastic for me is at the end of the 10 days, your body is definitely craving different foods, because when people are busy and they're rushing around and they're stressed, there's a real tendency to cook the same thing, buy the same things, eat on the go. And it's very easy to get into bad habits. But actually, once you've finished doing a longer, I mean, you know, it's probably a cleanse actually, not a fast, but it is a semi-fast, because you do miss breakfast in the morning and you have your first shake later on in the day. But it really, really helps. And I certainly found it very tough for the first few days. I tend to get quite high fluctuations in my sugar levels. I mean, I'm outside working quite a lot. And so in the first fast I did, water fast I did in the midwinter when it was freezing cold and I was outside a lot, and that was not a good idea for me. But I've learned the hard way for that perhaps choose your timings to make it a little bit easier on yourself if you're new to all this.
It really does. Yeah, and the thing is, it really, really does. Like, it really works, and that's the most important thing. And a lot of people beat themselves up because they're like, oh, I can't do it. Like, I broke my fast before that. There's nothing wrong with making mistakes.
Yeah,
Like, there's nothing wrong with it. You learn as you go, and then you learn to have that connection with your body finally. So you learn to trust your body. If your body is telling you, I'm not hungry, and you're like, all right, I'm not gonna eat. Like, because there's no more external stimulation. There's no more
yes,
like, oh, stress eating. You don't do that anymore because your body's in a state of stress when it's fasted, but it's not a bad stress. It's a stress that allows the body to regenerate faster. It's like working out. Working out stresses your body out, but your body repairs.
yeah.
That's what it does. But people don't understand it. Not only repairs, it grows even better and better and better. And superfoods are actually, and super herbs are some of the best things to take during a fast as well. I don't know which super herbs do you, I mean, superfoods do you consume?
Well, I use the Purium
Oh,
ones.
I'm interested in Purium.
Oh, it's just amazing. I mean, in the UK, we work with a company called Platinum, which are their European counterparts. But I've been using Purium products for years and years, because for me, I'm very, very active. I've got lots of my own animals, and my job can be involved outside doing quite physical work for long periods of time. And I needed something that would also give me the nutrients that I need, because obviously I'm at that age where I definitely want to slow down the aging process. But one thing I love about the Purium is, one, I've met David Sandfield, the owner, loads of times, and he is so knowledgeable, because I've never dieted in my life and never would, because I just don't believe in them. But when you know, and I want to talk about the sort of mental and spiritual benefits of it, when you really know that you're doing so much good for your mind and body, it's so much easier to keep going, isn't it?
And you get the motivation too because you
Yeah.
see the results and you're just like, this is working. This is the only thing that's working.
Yes, absolutely. It's the only thing that's working. And also, the other thing I found really helpful, Wasim, is doing it, if you're new to it, doing your first couple of either fasts or cleanses or a combination of the two with a couple of friends or in a group is really good, because you'll all have your little doubts and sort of dips at different times. And you just need someone that knows what they're doing to sort of motivate you through that and say, that's okay, that's completely normal. And that's really encouraging as well, isn't it?
Support group.
Yeah, support group is really, really important, because I think with everything that's been happening over the last year, people are really looking to build a healthier lifestyle physically, and they understand the link between physical and emotional stress. And when your blood feeds your brain, so if you're keeping your physical body in balance, you're automatically helping your emotional and spiritual self, aren't you?
Absolutely. And you're always looking to better yourself more. You get
Yeah.
addicted to learning self growth because you're learning, your body's working properly now. So it's like, okay, what else can I learn? Like yesterday, I was watching an interview about breathing, like just
Yes.
learning more about nostril breathing versus mouth breathing. And it's just insane. And A lot of people don't have awareness right now because of the addiction of the processed foods. But when you clean that out, your body is a really good cleaning machine. It has a really good filtration system, has a really good, it cleans everything out. And it's just, we haven't been taught any of that. Our whole programming is so off. And Purium, I want to actually learn more details about because I'm very interested in Purium. One of the guys I follow, Troy Casey, certified
Oh,
health
he's
nut.
a friend of mine. Yeah, I know Troy well. He is great. Do you know, I've known him since the start of the Pure journey, and he's come over a few times to the UK and done some tours with us all to spread the word. And he's an absolute scream, but he really practices what he preaches,
Yeah,
and he's, pretty extreme for a lot of people, but you've only got to see his vibrancy and passion for life and everything about how cool. Yeah. So yeah, I know Troy very well. He's a great, great guy.
I got to speak to him for like 20 minutes and it was the best. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Like, I'm
Fantastic. So talk me through about how with your changes that you've made with introducing this as to a regular practice with the fasting, what have you noticed about your intuition? Have you noticed a
I
difference?
woke
Right.
up. I
Yeah.
completely woke up. 100% I woke up. I was at the point in my life where like I had no awareness. And once I started fasting and understanding that when you're fasting, your body's in a state of ketosis. So your body's using fats for energy instead of carbohydrates and sugars. That's when your brain changes. Your brain literally gets an on switch and you're just like, oh, things are different now. I don't know why. I just have this new thing called intuition or awareness. Even though it's not new, we were born with it. We were just taught to block it.
Yeah.
And the spiritual benefits just became so addicting to me because I started to look up prolonged benefits of fasting. And I was just like, maybe I should try that. And then so I'm a little crazy. I like to incorporate cannabis
Yeah.
and magic mushrooms during my fasts. So like I always do these kind of things fasted, and a lot of the super herbs I take are like ashwagandha, maca root, a mushroom extract, which is
Yeah.
neurogenesis, cacao powder, and I'll just drink that dirt drink. Is nasty, but and some shilajit. So I'll take that during my fast and it'll just put me on this insane vibration. And I just love how I feel because I have such an intense awareness. So like I started looking into like longer fast. I started looking how can I do this in a way that so I started with a 24-hour fast. Um, Even though I would have tea and coffee and stuff like that, people are like, "Oh, that's not fasting." I've done dry fast too, and dry fasts you'll get spiritual benefits from it, but it's very difficult when you're not with no food, no water, no nothing. That's
I
challenging.
think that's a really good point. I mean, what I've learned over the different things that I've tried over the years, I've only done one water fast, and my friend Kelly encouraged me to do that. And I only did 2.5 days. But well, I was just drinking water. And the first day I found really, really hard because I love my food.
The
I, you
problem.
know, food is quite a social thing in our family.
Oh,
It's a time to all sit down together and discuss. But I did feel really, really good after it, I must say. Every time I've done the 10-day cleanses, I felt amazing afterwards. I'll always go through a couple of days when you can really feel that you dip a bit, and that happens for different people. But the one thing I think all of this is all of this is all about each of us listening to our bodies, isn't it? And tuning in and experimenting what's right with us. And so this is why I find it really helpful to have someone who's been through it before, because there's a line to learn between learning to listen for what's right for you. So you and I will have different body types and we're different ages and different environments, etc. So there's some things that might suit both of us, but equally I love the way that when you do either a cleanse or a fast, it really teaches you to tune in and listen to your body and at a different level that most of us are aware on a day-to-day basis.
That's why I feel like this is the key to like your health. It's
Yes.
the best key to your health. I talk about this in all my interviews because all I want for people is to just get the value out of it. There's no money in fasting. So I'm
Yeah.
not making any money doing this. I just tell people maybe you should just stop consuming food for a bit and just see how you feel. Because
Yeah.
when you learn the science and how like your cells regenerate, because a lot of people forgot what autophagy is, because I didn't pay attention in biology class. That was also another reason in school I never was able to focus. I was so addicted to sugar, so addicted to eating food that I had no concentration. It just makes sense. And what people don't understand is I don't think anybody has ever done a fast longer than like 12 hours. Like from the people I've seen in America, but when you start doing that, it's it's mind blowing, especially the spiritual benefits, especially the physical benefits are great, but how you feel on the inside really really changes. Like your heart opens up, your
Yeah.
chakras align, and you it happens to you without you realizing it's happening. It's only when you build this awareness up here that you're like, oh, so that's what's going on with my body.
Well, I think a lot of people, like I've just said, a lot of people can use food almost as a displacement behavior. It's very easy. I mean, a classic example during lockdown, even though I've still been working, I've spent a lot more time sitting at my desk than normal. So if I'm bored, it's really good for. I've got this beautiful office in the middle of the garden we've got with the horses just outside and everything. But it's if I'm a bit bored, it's a really good excuse to think, oh, I'll just go in and get something to eat or just go in and get something to drink. And most of the time, 9 times out of 10, I'm not actually hungry. And Wasim, about how during the lockdown, even those people that have been working, it's been different for them because a lot of people have been stuck at home or more Zooms and things. And it's made people really think. A lot of people can't cope with going quiet because they've got to address what's really going on in their lives. Do you think fasting sort of promotes a similar sort of reflection in people?
Yeah, because you're not thinking of food. You're not thinking I'm bored now. I got to go eat.
Yeah,
By yourself, and you're just like, all right, well, I can't eat, so I might as well think about what's wrong with me. Like my deepest, like what are my blocks? It just happens. And it's really insane because once I started fasting, like life aligned itself where I started losing the people in my life that weren't important to
yeah.
me. It, the past 3 years have been lonely, to be honest, but it's been great because I just sit by myself and I'm like, wow, like I really analyzed myself and I was able to like go through myself through the fast because the longer I would fast, if I went 2 days, 3 days, I have a way to do those prolonged fast in a very easy way, which I'll explain very soon. But it really makes you just sit down with yourself. Your brain keeps regenerating, new cells keep getting created through autophagy, and you just get smarter. You understand or understand what's really going on in the inside of your body, and then you trust your body. And because your body, like sometimes if you talk about a food that you don't like, your body will just go like this naturally. Your
Mm.
body talks to you, and people don't know this. And the goal with fasting is to increase your awareness. It builds awareness and builds that intuition, and then you just keep allowing the healing, the healing, the healing, and your life just changes once you start. The overconsumption of food is one of the biggest ways they brainwash you.
It's very true. It really is. And because I think also once you get into fasting and cleansing, you also get much more aware about every decision you're making about what you're putting into your body, which is great. And, again, listening to your body. So some people do really well with caffeine on fast, some people don't. And, my advice would be try it out and tune in. I've done a bit of studying with Paul Check as well, his holistic lifestyle coaching. And one of the things that course really teaches you is to be really aware of how your body is responding to different foods and drinks that you're putting into it. And that's, we've talked a lot over the last year about people becoming aware of what's going on and trusting themselves and using their intuition. And to me, this is a crucial stage of that.
And a lot of people have been gaining a lot of weight this because
Yeah.
they're home. They're afraid to go outside. Not only let's not forget when you're in fear, your cortisol spikes in the body, and that allows fat storage because your body's in emergency mode. So emergency mode means all right, let's just store
Yeah.
anything stressed, time to store up the food that you're eating. That's why people get so fat and people get very obese because it's instant storage.
And exactly. And then that's really depressing for people. And then they feel down and then they don't feel motivated. So, talk us through a bit about the longer fast then. So, we've got a good idea about the intermittent fast. So, you said you had some stuff to talk about the longer ones.
With the longer ones, a lot of people are like, oh, I feel dizzy, I feel weak. That's because of an electrolyte imbalance. It's
Yeah.
your electrolytes are your battery, basically. The sodium, the potassium, the magnesium. Um, I think I think a little bit of calcium as well, but overall sodium and potassium they work together. And magnesium is also for like relaxing your muscles. I'm sure you know more about that than I do. But what I do know is when I'm fasting, if I need to replenish my body, I will make an electrolytes drink. So I will make a apple cider vinegar, lemon juice with some pink salt, the pink salt, or Himalayan pink salt or sea salt, which is the sodium with the trace minerals. Because if you get the iodized, the regular table salt, they bleach that salt,
No. Ugh.
iodine in it, but it's already stripped away of all the nutrients and the trace minerals. So you want to go for like a pink salt, Himalayan pink salt, or a sea salt.
Yeah.
And then I add a little bit of cream of tartar in the drink because that's potassium. So like potassium, sodium work well. Basically, sodium, potassium, they'll go together, cause an electric it's an electric charge, and it drains out water from your body, which is really, really cool. The problem is if you're drinking water all the time, you're flushing out your minerals. That's why
Yeah.
when you urinate and you see it's just water, that if it's not yellow or anything like that, there's no new like you've flushed it out.
Yeah.
That's why people feel so dizzy, and it can be resolved with just a little bit of salt. I mean,
Yeah.
real salt.
No, I saw really good. I mean, I'm going to be looking with some other people about water quality as well, because that's really important as well. So, sorry, carry on.
I say that's so true. The quality of the water, but
Yeah,
continue.
that's a whole different subject in itself. So, but it's really important for people to look into. So, what would be your main tips then for someone if you had to say you've got someone sitting there that sort of feels that they just need a bit of a reboot? So, what would be your tips? So, to start off doing an intermittent fast, how many days a week for a normal person, a non-athlete?
The first tip is as a motivational tip. It's that you can do it. It
Yeah,
1,000% you can do it. Like you have to know that you can do it, and if um, people look up to you as well. I look up to you because I love your content. I love your value. So when you say something, I'm going to take that advice because to me, you're a high vibe individual. And plus, you know about Purium and you're friends with Troy Casey, which is incredible. And I know you're talking about the anti-aging a lot.
yeah.
It's working on you.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, you said all the right things. Well done. Thank you.
That's one.
But
Tip,
yeah,
tip number two is start with the intermittent fasting.
yeah,
Start with breakfast. It really, really works. I'm not I am there's like I said, I don't get anything out of this. There's no
yeah,
money in fact, nothing like that. All I want is for just people to wake up and become so aware. And I just notice everybody who's not awake right now, they have problems with eating. They obsessively eat.
yeah,
So, and another thing about it, the second tip, skip breakfast.
yeah,
Um, Tip number three, go with the intermittent fasting. So whenever you feel hungry, a lot of people eat from the afternoon to night. So 12 p.m. to 8 p.m. That's 8 hours. But if you can fast longer, if you're not hungry at 12 and you're like, I can go a little longer. So I'll eat at 2 o'clock. Go from 2 to 8. That
yeah,
way, order fast, and you're just like, oh wow, I did it. That's the next tip. The next tip, tip number four, I believe, is after the end of the day, reflect on yourself and be like, I'm so happy and grateful that I tried this. I'm so happy and grateful I did this. You have to really like you have to appreciate yourself. You
yeah.
have to, even if you mess up. You'd be like, hey, I messed up, but I'm not going to be hard on myself because I know I can do this.
I think that's really important actually, because, do that and then sort of, have a bit of reflection and think, well, why did I? And how can I set myself up for success next time?
Yeah. And then people could be like, oh, I listened to Catherine Edwards and she's fantastic. I listened to him and he's cool too, I guess. But yeah, seriously, because I really want people to feel happy. Like
Yeah,
the motivation is so important if you keep the positive energy up and you keep uplifting people and making them feel, because that's what I do in interviews. I tell the other person how much I'm grateful for them because if it wasn't for you reaching out to me, we wouldn't have been having this conversation, which is benefiting so many people. I'm learning so much from you and vice versa. So
I
like,
think we always do. I think, everyone's got something to add to something. And, what I'm like you were saying, where I like learning via experience. Yes, I like studying, but at the end of the day, there's no substitute to actually doing it yourself. And, just having a bit of fun and experimenting with it. But the other thing that I think really helps me personally is just having, you know, being clear with yourself and being a bit reflective before you start about why you want to do it. Because
I
then when you're feeling a bit of a dip, and also I always share it with friends. Now, this might be a girl thing, but if I tell someone I'm going to do it, I'm much more likely to stick to it.
Yeah, I've noticed that. I've noticed females actually stick to their plans better than males do. And I have a big like I love talking about like masculine energy, feminine energy, the feminization of men that they're doing, but that's another topic. But I can say that the next tip is whatever you consume, make sure it's organic, make sure it's high
Yeah,
quality, because there's so much process people do not understand, and you know this, I know this, there is so much unbelievable garbage in these processed foods, and now we're hearing that there's aborted fetal cells in it. I mean, I'm not surprised, you're not surprised either, but it's really bad. And then the sad thing is, a lot of these ingredients, one of them that you see in everything is natural flavors. There
mm,
is nothing natural about that. That's a hidden way for them to put some other garbage in there that's mostly a carcinogen or a pathogen. And like I found out that the naked drinks,
I
that's
know, wasn't that awful?
horrible. Like,
Horrible, absolutely horrible. And it's so misleading. And I think this is the thing is it's like it is really, really shocking. But every food choice you're making, not only are you supporting yourself, but also you're making a decision in terms of globally which way the energy is going. Are you supporting someone that's destroying the environment, encouraging awful animal welfare conditions, or are you supporting your local farmers, your local produce, someone that's actually contributing to the world being a better place for all of us? And it does make a difference, doesn't it?
yeah, and another thing about fasting, it makes you a better person.
Yeah.
You make decisions on it. One of the biggest things that I focus on now is, there was a big, like, as a man growing up, men have their certain addictions. A lot of it is also based on like the porn industry and everything, like especially with and this is a real topic. Like a lot of men are not men anymore because they're so addicted to the wrong things. They're always used to releasing their male energy, like through, masturbation and things like that, which is lowering the energy of a male. So like fasting allows you to like really study the things that matter. Like I've been studying this for the past like year now with this whole semen retention thing, where a man, instead of releasing all the time, he uses it to transmute the energy upward into the third eye and the crown, and align yourself. So like you actually feel like a man, but you also have the open heart. So you got the nurturing, loving side of the divine feminine as well. And I love that, because fasting really not only just changed my life, but it really introduced me to like the male and the female, the divine feminine, the divine masculine, the bond and the unity, learning how to love, learning how to feel. I was able to feel again after fasting, which is really, really amazing. Like I can watch a movie and get teary now, which is really, really cool. I can
I've
like
never
talk.
had a problem with that. Yeah, I blubber everything. No, I don't. I'm pretty tough cookie in some things, unless you let me watch Bambi, and then I'll be blubbing. Yeah. So, I mean, I think that's really useful, and I think I want people to walk away. There's a lot of people at the moment that are fed up. They're surrounded by people that aren't aligned with their belief systems, with what they're seeing in the world. So everything is about, okay, take back control yourself. And also it's quite addictive. Some of my friends have just started doing fasts again, and that's what made me contact you, because I was thinking, yeah, actually, the weather's nicer outside now in the UK, I'm ready to do one. So I'm definitely going to be programming in my fast. So I'm going to start with the intermittent fast, because that's something I can easily do, and
Works.
then go from there.
It is so crazy how much it works. It just there's not and I'll tell you this because I was into bodybuilding growing up. Like back in the day, I've done like the anabolic steroids. I tried all these different things. I tried eating 9 times a day. that was horrible. Like
Yeah.
I got very sick from that because if you're eating all the time, what people don't understand is the overconsumption. Your insulin cell opens, nutrients go in. Very simple way to describe it. But if you're eating, you're snacking all the time, insulin stops working. That's
Yeah.
why people become insulin resistant. And then they become diabetic and they don't understand why. And then they have to inject insulin. Makes sense. Like it just all makes sense. It's the overconsumption of food, and it's literally you refrain from that, and you allow your brain to reset. You allow it to the dopamine to reset, the serotonin to reset. That way, when you break your fast, you will appreciate your food so much.
You
Like,
really do. The tastes just come alive, don't they? And also, some of the more junky food that people get addicted to, you just don't want anymore. And honestly, people, I'll vouch for that. And we're seeing one of the other reasons I want to see people really try it, because there's no substitute. It's like you can't go to watch someone else at the gym and get fit. You've got to do it yourself, folks. But because I work with animal health, and as a human, we make all the decisions for the animals in our care. And until you know how to look after your own health through your eating habits, your food choices, you're not going to be making the right decisions for your animals. So I'm also going to be following up on this with looking at fasting in dogs as well, because that's a big one, because we've got all the same health issues in our dogs that we're seeing in the human population now as well. So by informing yourself, folks, those of you that have got pets, you're going to start making much better decisions for your animals in your care as well.
because you take care of yourself, you're gonna obviously take care of your environment. It
Yeah,
makes sense. Like children, for example, children are a reflection of their parents. So when
completely.
absolutely. And I always notice this. Like you see, like obese parents, the kids are always obese.
Yeah,
It always it makes sense. It's your environment as well. But the fasting allows you to fix everything on the inside. So then you notice the outside is messed up. So you're like, okay, I'm not gonna let that affect me. I'm not gonna let that affect me. And you just get into this joy mode where you're in bliss and peace. And then you allow as you heal, the outside world heals around you, which is so phenomenal. And that's why I know this great awakening is real. That's why
yeah,
I know what we're going through is so real because you notice the changes that's happened in your life. I noticed the changes in my life, but now I'm trying to like not trying, I'm rapidly accelerating it through fasts. And I tell people like just give it a try. I changed my roommate's life. Like he just kept seeing the foods I would eat and he would be like, yo, you're not hungry? I'm like, no, I'm not. And he's like, how do you do this? So I taught him. It's been 1 year now. This guy meditates for like 4 hours a day now. He just did the 3-day fast. On the second day, he was on psilocybin mushrooms.
mm,
And it was a mind-blowing experience for him and for myself because he really felt the effects of it. He has no fear because fear goes away when you fast because your brain is being detoxed. And he looked at me, and the coolest thing was when he looked at me. Obviously, when you're on magic mushrooms, your vibration changes into a almost delta state, so you're able to see things that are around you that are really there, but you can't see it because we have limitations. But he said he's like your third eye's open, Wasim, and I was just like, oh, is it? Tell me more. And he's like, you got a rainbow around you, and I was like, oh, that's nice.
mm.
Now
Yeah, I haven't gone there with that one yet, but yeah, I just go and hug a tree.
you
Well,
got the
that's really fascinating. And I would just say, just like you said, don't just try something small, folks. Just try something small. Let us know how you feel. There's lots of advice that you can get, online through various different experts and things. So if you need some support, we're here. Join a support group. But I would say everyone sort of set yourself a little target for something that you're going to do. Give it a go. Have fun with it.
works. It
Yeah,
really, really genuinely works. And when you have the coffee and tea in the morning, you won't be hungry. You'll
yeah,
be able to go about your day, and then you break your fast, something small, wait an hour later, eat your bigger meal, make sure it's organic, make sure it's high quality foods. And I promise, like, you will see the biggest change in your life where, wow, you
yeah.
just see, if you're a little fat, you'll see it just drop like super quickly. And you're just like, wait, how has it been this easy for so long? Because life
Yeah,
is
I think that's the thing. It doesn't have to be hard. So don't tell yourself it's hard, and it won't be.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. That was really fascinating. So I can't wait to see everyone's journeys in terms of what they start. Obviously, there's a lot of people that are real experts on this anyway, but it's really helped motivate me. I can't wait to start mine now. So I will let you know how I get on with that. I will start that tomorrow,
You
and
know,
it's late afternoon now. Pardon?
let me know your experience with
I,
Purium because I definitely want to learn more about it because I see. Look at your skin. Your skin's glowing.
Yeah,
Clear.
thank you. Despite and it's so easy. It's so easy for every lifetime. So we'll arrange a separate call about that because yeah, you know, for me it's something I 100% trust the quality of, which just makes all the difference. So yeah,
Uh,
lovely. Thank you so much for your time today. I hope everyone's enjoyed that. And yeah, happy fasting, everyone.
you're the best. I appreciate you so much.
Thank you. You too.